Hi everyone, it's Dana Hughie here. Today we're going to start off a two-part series on arranging. Next time we're going to cover the nuts and bolts of how to arrange and what to arrange and things like that. But today we're going to be discussing various questions that pop up with arranging. Things like, what am I allowed to arrange? Why bother learning to arrange? What are the legalistic matters to do with arranging? So the first question that we should address is obviously, why? Why bother arranging? Well, there are a variety of things that you can do with an arrangement once it's been produced. You can sell it to other people if you've gotten the rights to do that. You can expand your own business to be able to play whatever it is you want, and also to be able to say to a potential client, yes, I can have that piece arranged for you. I can have that piece of music for you even though it doesn't exist for my particular instrumentation. Because it happens quite frequently while I'm discussing with a potential wedding or reception client for music that they ask for a specific piece of music, and more often than not that piece of music isn't arranged for solo viola yet. Viola isn't the most popular instrument for these kinds of engagements, or sometimes even string quartet, and you get lots of requests for pop tunes for string quartet and other things like that. And the worst answer you can possibly give is, no, I don't do that. Arranging gives you an out, an ability to say, well, I don't have it yet, but I could have it at the time of the engagement. So these are some of the various reasons why you would arrange. And I want to take a moment also to discuss the musical integrity of arranging, because a lot of people would say, especially for the classical canon, that arranging isn't necessarily the best idea and that it's not something that is approached in serious venues very frequently. And this just isn't really the case. By and large, there are certain things that shouldn't be arranged. For example, Rachmaninoff's cello sonata probably shouldn't be arranged for flute. You have to be reasonable about what it is you're trying to arrange. But when I was at the University of Michigan, I think I heard at least 9 or 10 different instruments at various times throughout my career playing the Bach cello suites. Brahms arranged his clarinet sonatas for viola, and recently there's come about a viola arranging of his first violin sonata. Violists in the 20th century took it upon themselves to expand the repertoire both through commissioning and through arranging. They did lots of arranging. William Primrose and Lionel Tertis brought many things to the viola. And it's something that, while you do have to be careful about your venue, and you do have to be careful about knowing your audience. You have to know when you're presenting a particular arrangement that your audience is going to be accepting of it. You'll probably be allowed more latitude to try something a little bit more unconventional at the county fair than you will be at Carnegie Hall. So just use your good judgment about what's a good idea to arrange. But there is a long and well-established precedent for musicians arranging music for themselves to play just because they want to. So next thing, you want to make sure that when you're arranging for a purpose and for a specific venue. And this goes partly to what I was just discussing about knowing your audience and knowing what it is you're going for, but it's also important to know the function of what it is you're doing. For example, if you're playing a wedding and you're not going to have any rehearsal time, your arrangement should probably be pretty simple, and it should be very sight-readable. If you're going to be arranging something with an eye towards having it on a concert of some sort, you should have the specific concert venue in mind. It's generally not a good idea to just go arranging willy-nilly without having a specific end goal in mind, because what will happen then is that when the time comes for you to actually play that arrangement, things might have changed. Your instrumentation needs might have changed, or the needs of the venue may have changed, and you're probably going to end up doing lots of revisions to that original arrangement. So when you're arranging, it's always best to have an end goal in mind, to not just be arranging music for its own sake, but to be arranging music for a functional purpose, to be knowing this is where I'm going to be playing it and this is why I'm going to be playing it. So what do you need to arrange? Well, you need software, of course, and you don't have to shell out $600 or $700 for the latest in Sibelius or Finale or whatnot, although of course those softwares do come with perks that the freebie stuff doesn't have. But there are several free trial versions of arranging software out there that you can download and use to limited effect, and I've found that many of these freebies work perfectly fine for my own needs. So you do not need to shell out a ton of money to be able to arrange, at least for the software. You also need, I find that either a piano or a pitch pipe are both hugely invaluable, just to help you reference various pitches and to not have to be getting up and going back and forth to your instrument. Although it is useful, especially in the final stages of arranging, to have your instrument on hand, especially for string players as we're working at bowings. When I'm arranging, I generally make my arrangements as complete as possible, even including articulation markings, dynamics, and bowings as necessary, so that when I sit down to play my arrangement with people, they can just read and go and not have any questions about what the best ideas are. Because especially when you're doing a reception or a wedding where you have at most one rehearsal, the more readable your music is, the better off you'll be. Lastly, you need the rights to arrange, and this is the difficult part of arranging. I know what you're thinking, that, oh my gosh, that wasn't the difficult part, but no, this is the difficult part, is figuring out the legal side of arranging. So, most classical music is open domain at this point. Most of it is, but not all of it. For pop music, it's another animal entirely. You're going to need to get it to figure out who's holding the rights to your song. And there are a couple tools that you can use. For classical music, if it's on IMSLP, and this is the first link in the description, if the music is on IMSLP, then chances are it's open domain, but just in case, especially for 20th century works, you're a little bit vague on it, there's a really useful tool online called the Durationator, and this is the second link in the description. This will aid you in determining what's open source and what's not. For pop music, there's a website called the Harry Fox Agency that if you type in the name of the song or the name of the artist, it's a search engine that once you find the tool, once you find the song, it'll tell you who the rights holders are. And then you can go through the rights holders, whether it's Universal or Sony or any other music producing group out there. Chances are, though, I found when I was working with these people that they were very responsive and very quick, although it was difficult to figure out how to get in touch with these people for this purpose. It seems to me that most copyright holders of pop music use the Tresona company, which is the third link in the description, to handle their arranging licensees and whatnot. And I've included the link so that it'll be easier for you to just go straight through them if need be. And the difficult part about arranging, well, there are two things to keep in mind about arranging from the legal side. The first thing is, what is an arrangement? Well, any alteration or different representation of a work constitutes an arrangement. If you change the lyrics of a song but keep everything else the same, that's an arrangement. If you change some of the chords up, that's an arrangement. If you change the instrumentation, that's an arrangement. If you print up a hymnal and distribute it to your string quartet buddies and just have each of you play one line on the hymnal, technically speaking, you've just arranged that work that was previously for organ and SATB choir for string quartet. And all of these things are definitions which are designed to keep the rights with the rights holders for as long as possible, and so that they can charge you money. The number that I was quoted by Trace-Ona Company was that arrangements generally, the fees for arranging generally run from $150 to $300, which is not awful, but it does mean that you need to be able to game plan for how are you going to make money off of this particular arrangement. And that's pretty much everything that I have to say on arranging at this point. Arranging is fun and arranging is useful, and I do hope that you pursue it because there are many uses for it, and it's just really rewarding when you take some time to realize a piece of music in another medium, and to hear your creation come to life is a really rewarding experience. So that's that. I hope that you found this blog useful, and I'll see you next time.